Create this video all day. Actually read an article this morning that as I was getting prepared to do our daily financial update, which is always a lot of fun for me. I saved this article for this video, hoping I would get to it today, and we are about to. It was basically an article talking about why real estate could be the investment of choice for 2020. The headlines, the total clickbait of millionaires say, all of that stuff. But I thought what we would do is we'd break down each of their points and really relate it to what we've been discussing on this channel, and really talk about why 2020 could be a special year to start or grow your buy and hold real estate. So let's talk about that. But before we go there, I think it's fair to talk about at least some of the other investment options, because if real estate is going to be the best, that means others won't be the best, right? So first off, we'll start with stocks. I think there's a general feeling that stocks are at least near, if not at their peak or rolling over. We will likely have earnings slow down if the ISM number, as you saw in our financial update this morning, was weak. You saw consumer spending was weak for August. So signs are pointing to less earnings. And if you take the multiple times the slowing earnings, you get less value in stocks, let alone signs of a recession where people go to conserve cash, they de-risk, and they do all of those things. So I think to say that 2020 would be a great up year for stocks could be dangerous. Now, that said, what happens if the Fed says, you know what, we're going to take rates to zero and we're going to buy financial assets? Wow, that would be scary, right? If the Fed started buying index funds or started buying companies, and they did things similar to this back in the '08 crash where they were buying bonds they knew were worthless, or at least not worth what they were paying for them. So anything is up in the air if the Fed goes that direction. I'm going to take that off the table and just use the data that we've been talking about every day for about 60 days or so. So stocks are going to roll over, earnings will go down, the multiple will contract versus expand, and hence stocks are probably bad. Bonds. Bonds, in theory could go up in value, but that's because rates are going down, right? If rates go down, value goes up. I think it's fair to say that if you're going to be buying bonds, you want the yield. And if the yields are going down, and someone was talking about negative and all of that, bonds are going to be in trouble. Then there's commodities. I got this for a birthday present. It's I don't know, I guess a kilo of silver, has a dragon on it. Got this for my wife. Thanks, honey. It's a paperweight on my desk. Um, Commodities are interesting. I've owned some over the time, but they have storage costs and they're hard to move, and all of those things. And most importantly, they don't produce income and they have no tax advantages. So there's that there. And then there's finally, and we must talk about cryptocurrency. There are some huge proponents of cryptocurrency on here. I am not one of them. I do think eventually we will have one. I think the winner hasn't been created yet. And most importantly, I believe there will be one winner, and thus everybody else is a loser. And I am not close enough, I don't pay attention enough to this to pick who that is or who that will be. And the odds are not good that I would be successful. So that's what I think there. So that really leaves either cash or real estate. And cash is trash. It's what is it? It's just a means of exchange. So while having some cash and having an emergency fund and all of that will be really, really helpful, I don't really think saying cash as an investment is the right option. So that leaves real estate. So let's talk about why I think real estate could be great to either start, right, get your first one, or add in 2020. First and foremost, I think it's been proven over time that owning real estate, right, specifically income producing real estate, is a good thing as time goes by. Yes, it does have its ups and downs, and if you look year by year, you could see some of that. But if you follow the model that we talk about here on one rental at a time, we think in decades. And if you look in decades, owning will be a good thing. So I think that continues. As we'll go through the rest of the list, there will be lots of things that kind of add up to that. In addition to owning, you're going to be owning residential income producing assets. I'm not talking about selling your house in Mountain View and buying a house in Los Gatos. And for those that don't know, that is, selling a house in Mountain View is expensive, and then buying a house in Los Gatos is stupid expensive, right? Don't do that. That's not what we're talking about here. I'm talking about owning assets that produce a positive yield, positive cash flow. I would like you to be buying below the median for whatever your market is. I believe stuff 2x the median is in trouble. So there's going to be lots of flippers getting in trouble, right? So again, buy affordable, rent to the masses, be a good quality landlord. And I believe next year owning residential income will be a good thing. On top of that, you do get the ability to have appreciation or the ability to have value add appreciation, whether over time or in the future you want to add a suite, or you want to add a accessory dwelling unit, which is becoming very popular in the Bay Area, which is where you add a second smaller house, or you do these other things. Just real estate gives you the ability as the owner to change and increase its value. And over time, there may be options to do that for you. Maybe you have a funky layout where there's too much square feet between a family room, a living room, and a dining room. What would happen if you turn the family room into a master bedroom or a master suite? There's all these things you can do today, and more importantly, do in the future if you so choose. In addition to that, what you're doing today is you're buying an asset that increases in value with fixed rate debt that is ridiculously cheap, right? And if you're getting a loan today on an investment property, please get either a 15 or 30-year loan. Again, if you're like what I talk about in this channel and you're thinking in decades, I don't think it'd be very wise to get a 5-year ARM adjustable rate mortgage or a 7-year or something of that nature. Let's lock in our rates now so that when inflation eventually comes back, we're going to look like geniuses, right? If inflation's at 2% or 3%, you have a 3.5% mortgage, good for you. You are doing really well. In addition to that, with buying real estate, you have the ability to be selective, right? You can learn your market. This is something I talk about, and really the thing that I teach in my course is go spend 90 days learning your market so you know what average is. And then once you know what average is, you can only swing at good or great deals, right? This is where it comes important. This is what allows you to really increase your chances of success, because if your market is producing 5%, but you find a way to do 6.5%, this allows you the ability to earn your unfair advantage, and it's quite nice. Then you do have tax breaks. A lot of the people that watch this channel are in higher tax brackets, and the ability to have some positive cash flow that is canceled out by depreciation is awesome. So for example, if you made $200 a month in cash flow or $2,400 a year, there's every chance that the depreciation you write off, which is a phantom expense, it's a non-cash expense, will hide that from the IRS, and you will get to keep that $2,400 without paying the IRS one single penny. See your accountant, do the math, and see where that's true. But that has been my experience for most folks. The other thing that's really good is you're buying an asset for 100 or 60 or 150 or 300 or whatever it happens to be, and you're tying up only a portion of cash. You're tying up 20, and if you follow my model, maybe 30%, and you're controlling an asset that is substantially larger than that cash down. What's really good about that is your tenants will pay off the other portion. Let's say you got a $100,000 house. You put 30% down. Your tenants are going to pay the other 70%, either in 15 or 30 years. Tell me, nobody's buying 70% of my silver paperweight, but your tenants will pay for that. So that's really good. You have options in the future, right? When you get closer to retirement, and that's really what this book is all about, one rental at a time, is help me understand my options as I get ready to leave the workforce, right? Do I sell and keep, take the cash and pay taxes? Do I 1031 exchange into bigger things? Do I go back and do a cash out refi because loans are non-taxable, right? What are the options? Or do I just hold on and enjoy my life with positive cash flow? Real estate does give you those options. And again, somebody else is paying for them. You let inflation come in, you get mortgage pay down. There's just lots of things there. And then the last thing that we should never forget is shelter is one of those, Maslow's hierarchies right after food and water. I guess it's water and food. Everybody needs it. So if you focus on creating safe and well done, affordable housing, you will have demand in any market. Don't get infatuated with Boardwalk and Park Place where it's discretionary spending and people can trade down. If you play at the median or below, you produce a product like we do in the Pride of Ownership Rentals that is safe and the nicest things people have lived in as tenants, you will have a supply of tenants around the block. And that's what we should be focused on. So, again, I think 2020 is the year to start. I really do. Rates are ridiculously low. We know inflation's coming if it's not here. We're going to have consumers get nervous and stop buying, which again for me is the thing that we really track. We track consumers and cost of capital on this channel, and I see consumers getting nervous in 2020, which is going to be awesome because again I will have less competition. I can have more negotiating power and have the ability to produce more and more safe and secure assets. So let me know what you think. What do you think the best investment will be for 2020? I'd love to hear from you. If you think I've missed something, tell me. I take criticism and feedback. I'd love to hear from you. If you've been watching this long and you're not subscribed, let's hit that little red button and subscribe. Also, I'd love it if you share this video on Instagram or Facebook or whatever social media platform you're on so we can grow this channel. Your shares are really, really helping, and that would be awesome. All right, everybody, have a great day, and we will certainly talk to you tomorrow. Thanks.